Oh, okay.
Oh, am I alive? Maybe. I don't know, guys. Jeez. Talk about down to the wire. Um, oh my god. Yes, it's been a bit stressful today. Getting a few different things ready. If I go into my let's see, where am I here? In the complete wrong folder. I realized. If I go into my weekly updates and we look at the timestamp on the cover image, this one was made. Let's see. Details. Date published 2:58 p.m. That's 3 minutes ago. So yeah, to give you some indication of how stressed I am today, that is what it's all about. Good morning, people. Part of the reason, actually, I'll make sure Dropbox is set to not notify us either. There we go. Hopefully that's it now. What a day. Okay. Yeah, guys. Ben here from Second Dynasty. This week has been havoc. We're preparing for our launch of the Transport Delta 2400 series on Tuesday. We've had great success putting out our free Delta shuttle pod. And my mini factory started advertising a little bit on our behalf, which means that we've had over 1,300 signups so far, which is great. I'm sure most people are just there for a free model, but still, it should help us make a little bit of an impact come Monday. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but really today I wanted to take some time to talk about Traveller. Albin's here but has to leave very shortly. And yeah, I need to get you guys up to date about where we're at. So we do have quite a few things we've been working on, and there has been quite a bit of focus on Traveller. Of course, I've also been working on the Delta, and John has been working on getting that into 3DO. So yeah, there hasn't been much progress on the Instead version of the miniatures, unfortunately. But Albin has completed the rear section for this, the Grant engine variant. And actually I can show that off immediately. So here we go, here's the prototype. It's not 100% perfect, but this version in particular. But it is fully printable now, and I'm told it's just a case of us making a product for my mini factory, and then it can actually be released. So good work, Albin!
Thank you.
The other thing he's been spending an enormous amount of time on, and it's taken more time than, these things do. He's currently working on the passenger 30-ton module for the modular cutter.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a cluster F, but we've figured out a way that we can make the multi-level thing work, and I'm really glad that Albin can take that on the chin for me, because it's not a fun, like, I like the appearance of it, but I don't like the amount of work that has to go into actually, like, often this is one of the cases where I've done a render just to get out a concept of what we're going to do, and then it actually takes us a long time to do it. The cab section is similar, although you can see here I've come a long way. I was hoping to have the first nose section here printable today, but unfortunately I've run out of time. This is what we're going to focus on. But before we do any of that, the reason why I was very stressed coming to the stream is because I wrote a rather lengthy update about the deck plan situation. So way back when we released the Beowulf, the campaign, which was on Kickstarter, ended in October of 2022. It's now been 15 months since we released that. And although, like, I've not lost my confidence in Dalton's ability to produce the final product, the thing is, when I agreed to do the deck plans with Dalton, I understood that his time, it was going to be some, like, this isn't his primary job. It's a third-party solution, and both the scope increased tremendously compared to what we originally envisaged with our sort of downloaded deck plans. Like I'll get to the solution in that, but like if I just load this up, like this is what we thought our deck plans would look like, right? We take renders of our ships, we send them to Dalton, and they get sort of like repackaged and scaled to the correct size and then sent out. Now what Dalton has done is far more impressive, where he's cut up everything, reconstructed the ships, but made it in such a way that basically if you had the right tools you could play and completely customize the look of your Type S, Type J, or Beowulf. And the reason his Beowulf plans are taking a bit longer is because he's doing a 200-ton version first, and then our 300-ton version. His job is extremely stressful. It has a lot of responsibility, and there's just been a hell of a lot of different things that have happened due to the nature of his job, the status of conditions in the world at the moment, and just some really bad luck outside of that. So consequently, there's been less time to focus on getting this project finished, and on top of that, it's way more complex than I imagined getting it solved in that way. So consequently, to date, we have the Type S. It's pretty much at a finished state, I would say. We did talk about doing even more with it as a sort of compromise to the weight, but at this point I just want to get out what we've said, because I if I'm being perfectly honest, it's really triggering my Catholic guilt at the moment. Like, it's one of those things where I would have liked the project to be finished. Now, it's gotten to a point where I've just realized I need to get something out. Now, we put way more resources into this than we ever intended to, and my natural response, my current thoughts is, like, if I'd have known it would take this long, I would never have committed to doing deck plans at all. Albin spent a month full-time rendering these things out due to the size and detail, the lighting you have to set up. We did versions that were fully lit, we did versions that had no lighting, so it was neutral and could be recolored. He spent about a month on it, I've spent about 3 weeks. And then, not to mention all of the extra time that Dalton has put into it. So the scope of the project grew beyond what's sensible, basically. So I just decided, in the last 24 hours, because we did get some questions, and I kind of felt like, oh, wow. I sort of focused on the fact about how much I've been avoiding this topic, because I just want there to be something to show the next time that we update people. And I realized it's been like 4 months. And that doesn't feel acceptable to me. So today what I did was I took those renders that Albin and I made and have started compiling them in Photoshop, which I hate and loathe, into something that's usable. I have exported the Type J Seeker main deck. That's as far as I got. You can see there's 3 different sizes here: 256 ppi, 100 ppi, and 70 ppi pixels per inch, that is. 70 being like the sort of Roll20 scale of a map. There's no bells or whistles. It's kind of neutrally lit, but still has a little bit of built-in lighting. Something that's going to be usable for your tabletop now. And then I also did the Beowulf in the same manner and got all 3 decks done. Now, I haven't got this to an export stage yet, so I'm hoping later on in the day. What I would love to do is get the Grand Engine out and update the Beowulf maps so that we have the same thing. So again, that's kind of like, these are the maps. This is the sort of 70 pixels per inch version. You can kind of see here that I've, placed in a few doors and things, so you can kind of get the full sort of static map version. So you can drop these into your games and start using them immediately without the fandangled final product version that Dalton will be getting out in the end. So I'm not saying it's not coming, but I just felt like we can't continue doing this without having something coming out. It's embarrassing. And I feel like it stains our reputation. Even though, obviously our wheelhouse is 3D printing, not 2D deck plans. But yeah, knowing what I know now, I would definitely not do this. And I can say right now we won't be doing it in the future. I think we even promised a map for the Odyssey. That's not out yet either. Yeah. So I will get to the comments in a second. I just wanted to go over that. And this, again, this doesn't fall on Dalton, it falls on me. Because I had a gut feeling in the beginning that, is this such a good idea to rely on this, on outsourcing these to someone where I knew they wouldn't be able to, spend their primary amount of time on it, if you understand what I mean. This was not going to be like it's a side contract. Now I could maybe have been more stern with it or whatnot, but ultimately I'm the one that's responsible, I'm the one that's promised the product, and I'm the one that needs to accept responsibility for the delays. So hopefully this is some kind of compromise that will help a little bit. It feels like we've been here before, but I just need to get this done because it's sitting on my shoulder like this evil monkey in my ear and keeping me from being able to focus on what I should be focusing on. And when I say that, I mean like we literally have a campaign launch on Tuesday. We still have outstanding objects too from our last campaign. Now, this is all set up to work in parallel. It's not just a team of one person. And part of the reason we're doing what we're doing is because of, just the way that we usually have a second Dynasty Day in February. Sorry, I'm a little bit disjointed today. Let me just read and see what you guys have said here. It looks like most of this is just hellos. Alright, so Brian Rombar says, glad to hear Dalton's deck plans are still in the works. Totally understand the delay considering it's a side gig. Yeah, this is the thing, and yeah, like, it's not optimal in that sense. Now, I'm very happy with the quality and flexibility of the work, and I'm sure it's going to lead to a gazillion different variants down the road, but I just need it to be done. That Blasted Summerflunge says, I know when I suggested deck plans long ago, all I was expecting was these bare bones versions. To me, these are beautiful. The level of detail for a deck plan is perfect for gamers, in my humble opinion. Thank you. And you continue to say, I still think deck plans are a good idea, but it needs to be economical for sure. A nice top-down render is all I needed. That might be okay, but the thing is, part of the reason we wanted to do this is because we looked at what's out there for Traveller, and we know we can produce at the level that we did. Like the Type S, I'm very proud of. I think it looks amazing. But for the amount of time that we put into it and the amount of sales we've had, mind you, it was only during the campaign because this is set to private. Unless you back the campaign, you don't have the deck plans. They're not public. I don't strongly believe in them as a huge cash cow, but I'm a bit biased because I spent the 2000s doing some, open gaming licensing, original content and that sort of thing, and did the whole drive-through thing. And, I think at the best point in time, it was like about $50 a month, not really. that doesn't work for us. $500 a month doesn't work for us. It would make a difference, but I mean, we have a massive burn rate, and if I look at 7 weeks of production time on our end, and then God knows how much on Dalton's, it's just not a viable product at this point in time. That doesn't mean we can ignore it. It was a mistake. We need to pay for it. I just need to sort of move on. And speaking of moving on, a part of that is going to be actually working on this, getting these models out. And this, of course, is from the small craft campaign. I'm just going to open up Maya a bit more. Don't forget the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can hear Albin getting focused on his work again. But he has an appointment to get to soon. So let's... I'm going to turn on pretty much everything in this scene, and we can go through it. So let's get all this on. Oh, it's isolated, that's why. So I'm going to show off... Oh, not that one. Not that one. Actually, yes, that one. Cradle is not actually on this. Yeah, there's so much stuff coming on online at the moment in this scene. So, the base craft are done. So we don't really need to go over those. That would be the modular cutter, the ship's boat, the pinnace, and so that's the ship's boat there, and the launch. Now on top of that we had the rampart revision. So this is just, I don't think this is the actual finished version that we have in here. Actually, it looks like it might be. Yeah, it is. No? It's a previs. Sorry. Yeah, it's shorter. But that is done. It's out. They're released. In addition to that, so I'm going to mark off these things when they're done. The civilian gig, which was free, that's gone. Sorry, it wasn't free. It was a stretch goal. The cradle is done. Of course, this isn't the finished version. It's in a different scene. So I'm just going to turn that one off in a second after I turn off the primary ships. The cargo module is off. And the cradle. There we go. So both the slow boat and the slow pinnace are done and out. So turn off that, turn off that. And we can turn off the rampart. I'm guessing this is here for a reason, but I can't figure out why. So here we have a bit of a cluster of different modules. We can turn off the fuel module version because that is done and out, which gives us two modules here. Now let me just turn off the Grant cab and engine for a second, just so that hopefully I can make this a bit clearer. I guess it's a bit of a workshop here, so please bear with me. Now Albin is working on this. This is not the working scene he's working on, but we've figured out how we're doing the top and lower decks. And the way we're doing it is we're actually sliding out this top deck, so it will slide out to in this direction. I don't think the model's all solid in one piece in this scene, so I don't think we can actually... Oh, actually we can. So basically, the effect is going to be something like this, that it'll slide up in this direction, the fresher will stay where it is, and you'll be able to see down into the level below. I think we've changed around, some of the positions. There was a fresher under the stairs. Actually, how did that work? Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yep.
Should I send some screenshots or something?
No, it's all right. Yeah, there was going to be a fresher under the stairs here. We decided to just build it in because it's too much of a pain in the butt to sort of fully detail, so it'll just be a closed off door. This is one of those nightmare scenario models, putting it together. Then we also have the vehicle carryout, which is also going to be a bit of a nightmare. That one I intend to sort of dump onto John because he's good at figuring out the mechanics of how we're going to hold on to the vehicle, which of course is already printable as well and released. Which, as far as I know, once the passenger module is done, it will be the vehicle module that's left, aside from this cab and also the original round cab for the, let's see, Cutter Cab Original, which is the sort of like spherical front, right? That's another one that's going to be a pain in the butt to do. Maybe not now that there are other references, so I could probably, like, honestly, it's more a case of it might take a bit of time to do. So I don't know if I'll do that myself or if it will get dumped with someone else. But yeah, it just, one of those headaches where you kind of really got to figure out how you're going to split up the model because of the way it's shaped. So let's see. That is the sort of where we're at part of things. Now, if I turn off that vehicle module and turn the sorry, not the engine on, the cab on, you can see I've got all this stuff and it's just all over the place. But basically, I'm very happy now with what we're doing with the front section. So basically, you would have your avionics, your RCS, accessible through this. Sorry, it's a bit darker. These have been ripped out of the bay we've seen, and apparently I've been using darker shaders. Oh, that blasted salmon flange asks, can the passenger model or a piece of be adapted to non-traveler sci-fi train future hypothetical project? Yeah, could be. I don't necessarily think that's a good money maker, but it could certainly be. So if I isolate this front section, these are the most sort of well thought out parts of it so far. So we have the nose, which is essentially printable as is. It's just a matter of getting it sent off and test printed. We have been printing a lot of other stuff too, like Albin's models and the Delta 2400 interior. Not to mention there have been some misprints, because I think our printers need maintenance, but I am horrible at that. This secondary piece is pretty much done. If we isolated that, you can see that I've worked out where all the clips are going. At this point in time, we're just sort of like, I'm going to try and figure out how... Oh, that's interesting. I feel like this isn't the most recent version, actually, unfortunately. This is an older version. Yeah, this is the newer one, but I remember actually putting floor paneling in here, so for some reason I've been working in the wrong scene, which is fun. I don't think it's a huge amount of work, it can be redone pretty quickly, but yeah. So the idea is, this is more your space truck. Aside from the really cool, I think it was either Mega Traveler or maybe it was GURPS Traveler. But this, it's called the Grant design because the artist was by the name of Grant. Last name Grant. I'm struggling to remember what the first name was. But yeah, there will be this little lid. The back part here, it'll just slot in and gravity will hold it in place. There will be a little partition that we slide in here. It's purely decorative. I don't intend to, this will be solid. I don't think there's any point to detailing an area where you won't be able to get miniatures into either. Anyway, I mean, actually, do we have any miniatures in this scene? Oh god, wouldn't know what to call the miniature. Yeah, I don't think we have any in this scene at present, or at least I don't know how to search for it. But yeah, this won't be like a perfect ceiling height. I think you might have to, take the lid off to use a miniature or two in here. But these will be slotting into the walls as a separate piece, so you can easily paint them. And I think the steps will probably be attached. I'm not sure. Actually, we'll probably split them up. Mostly because these windows are a problem. And the problem isn't that this is straight, because it is. The problem is you have a curve here. And if we want to keep that curve, basically what we have to do is split this along here, or split it further down at the front. It all depends what we actually have the room for. I don't love either option, to be honest, but we need this split here because we need the base of the ring. I've flattened that out, so this will print like so, this piece that's highlighted. And so I need to figure out what we're going to do with this piece. One option, the simplest option, would be to just square this off a bit. If we basically made, I'll just create a temporary object here and put my snapping on. So if I go from there to there to there to there, so basically you would have this shape instead. You can kind of see where the curvature's at. So this isn't perfectly flat by the looks of things, which is a bit of a worry, to be honest. It might be that there's just a bit of an angle there. But basically you've got bridging issues. You cannot bridge a curve. It'll create droopage, it'll look unattractive. So we have two options. Either splitting halfway down through this window, which we might have to do, which isn't optimal, because it probably will mean maybe we'll do a little bit of like a sort of like one side will be extended out so that, you know, the whole kind of covers it. It might have to be an intersecting plate. This is where this kind of model is actually a headache, where you end up spending like a week or more getting it from a concept to a printable stage. That's a hell of a lot of work, and can be quite frustrating, mostly because these sorts of issues have a tendency to, oh, we need to move that chair over. They have a tendency to cause a few headaches, in the sense of you sort of work for half a day or more and then realize you've been going at it the wrong way and you have to split it up a different way, and all of a sudden you've wasted, it feels like you've wasted a day, even if you know no work you do is completely wasted, because you actually are constantly learning and improving your skills. So for example, now if I wanted to build an object that's 3D printable, I have all of the base skills to know, you know, what's going to require support and not. And even now, honestly, I could deliver you an inferior product by just putting this out as is and dealing with overhangs and parts requiring supports. And it is a temptation. I don't like doing things that require supports. At the same time, I'm just thinking about it at the moment, considering how stressed I am already and how much all of this work is piling up. We can always go back and improve this part in the future. So maybe rather than torturing myself figuring out how to print this without supports, we just make it a piece this large, it'll print like this, and we use tree supports in those window frames. It's inelegant, but we've got to work to a time frame, right? So again, all of these items have been, you know, made as stretch goals. Michael Wagner asks, what's wrong with using supports that part for the curve? Mostly just because I like to print support free. I've been through the phase of, you know, when I first got into 3D printing, I did not actually enjoy the 3D printing part at all. I love the result of having something physical that you've designed, but the headaches that come with it were really annoying to me. And I feel as if there are a lot of people that are in that boat that have just got into 3D printing that thought it was going to be one thing and realized it's another. It's not going to be ever like buying, a HP LaserJet where the only thing you need to think about is the tray blocked, or do I need to replace the printer cartridges? The things that can go wrong with 3D printers too, you're dealing with high temperatures, they're finicky as far as how moist the air is can affect the quality of your print, how much moisture there is in the filament, what time of year it is, what the ambient temperature is. There's all these other kinds of factors if you've got a draft, and that's without, failures in the machines themselves, which do happen. There are a lot less failures than there used to be. So basically this is about making the printing experience as simple and easy as possible for the customer. Am I overthinking it? For a lot of people, probably. But I think too, there's. I want Second Dynasty to represent quality of craft. Michael Wagner says, I vote that you release it as is and improve it in the future. I mean, it's not a vote at this point. I think I've made the decision. I need to do it that way and just accept that the Windows will need supports. We need to move on. And this is where, you have the difference of a project being profitable and actually putting you into the red. And we've had too many red projects in the last 2 years. So yeah, I think probably an inelegant solution is better at this stage. I think it'll still look good, and tree supports come off a lot better than conventional supports. Sorry, when I say tree supports, I mean organic supports. Let's see. I'll fill it in and cut a line here. Release it with supports for now. I'll save the support free for later when you're under less stress. Yeah, I think so. The thing is though, because this is a stretch goal, I don't think we'll revisit it in the future. Mind you, if I was choosing a small craft, I would prefer this design for my cab than any of the other ones. So yeah, it might just have to be that. Yay, woo, inelegant and lowered stress. Yeah, thanks guys, I appreciate that. What if there was a version with built-in Windows Solid instead of supports? Erase that and then work on the supports to support free later. Yeah, I don't know. I like being able to see into the cockpit. So I think honestly, there's less work. I mean, this is already a complete mesh, right? I would actually have to remove parts to do that, and that doesn't make sense to me. You can always go back and do another pass, and if anyone's likely to George Lucas my work, it's me. But I'm wondering now if this doesn't look quite aligned, so I'm a bit concerned about, what is this? That's not aligned at all. It's meant to all be straight. No, what's happened? Sorry guys, there could be a second one coming. Yeah, I've just realized this is jotting out more than I would like, which means we need to make some adjustments. Basically, all of these lines should be in line with this thing. So, boy oh boy, I hope this isn't too comprehensive. Let's see. What are we actually looking at that's jutting out? I hate it when this happens, but it does occasionally happen. And ultimately it needs to be addressed before you can make it printable, so I will move the pivot points. We'll snap this back to there, and hope that we haven't done too much damage unintentionally. This explains why those inserts weren't quite aligning the way that I thought they would. Oh god, let's look at all of the clips though. This is a nightmare. What? Yeah, okay. So basically I'm just going to deselect anywhere that there are clips. Because we're going to need to move these independently. Just making sure, yeah. I've been getting sloppy. So yeah, that should be the last of the ones we need to worry about. And then I'm guessing this is going to go all the way into where this line is. So if I grab that and push it to here, that should be just about, it wasn't completely flush, which is interesting. So why, okay, it comes out a bit further than I thought, but in general that looks fairly straight. The real test is if we, yeah. I tried, what I was trying to do just then was to squash it together using this scale tool. If you scale to 0 with vertexes selected in Maya in a single direction, it will align them all to the same plane, essentially. Gesundheit, thank you. Hey, Dor. So yeah, that's rather annoying, along with the other issues that I've run into, but hey, these things happen. To think I thought this front part would be printable today, I don't think it would. We'll see how I've only got 20 minutes left anyway. I was not feeling the most, how to put it? I'm not feeling the most inspired today. Just have a lot of stuff on my plate. So if I expand this, we're going to end up with these. I'm just trying to figure out exactly which polygons I need to move in order to make this right. Which doesn't make for great TP, strangely enough. So yeah, right now we're just righting some wrongs. So if I expand that and then we take off these ones, that should be enough selected, right? I hope everyone's doing well this week, and that they've had a good week. I mean, I say it's been stressful, and it has. Wait, why didn't that go back? Oh, that's been deselected, okay. So yeah, if we go up here, and actually that's sticking out all the way, so we can just select all of it. Yeah, I don't know where this week went, to be honest. It's amazing how you can feel like you're all refreshed and stress-free, and all of a sudden you're in it again. So yeah, I guess at least I can look at what I have accomplished, and I mean I got those deck plans out today. I was get the rest of it out after the stream, and so that's something that feels actually like a weight lifted in a sense, even if it's not, you know, the final product. At least there are people that, you know, got the Type J that can now use maps for the Type J. That feels better. Let's see. Alrighty. Yeah, and I was even making that graphic just literally seconds before I went live. So I apologize if anyone was surprised that we were even streaming today. Let's see, what's going on here? I couldn't link these faces. Let's try this again. Sometimes I press 3 for smooth, just to see where there are, like, if there are hidden issues with the mesh. And sometimes you'll see thicker lines that usually indicates that two polygons edges aren't actually welded together the way you would expect. So, yeah. Needless to say, it might be obvious at this point that this particular model is not going to be ready today, but it should be... It certainly should be ready for next week. The main thing is, like, we have a launch on Tuesday. I don't have the page ready for the launch, but I have something like 5 stretch goals visualized. I'm not expecting this to be a huge campaign, and again, it's the Delta on Frontiers. You can see it here. Follow the link in the description and you can pick up this free model. Lots of people have been printing it, which is nice to see, and some great paint jobs and custom jobs turning up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what people can do with that. And it's a fun little craft too. This isn't the full thing, this is just the tip. Just the tip. Since we're working on Traveller stuff, why not? There have been some Delta changes. Maybe I will just show that off too before the end. So I'll open a second copy of Maya and hope for the best. Yeah. I don't usually like to stream when I'm this stressed, but I decided to anyway this time. It is good to, you know, make sure that you continue to get stuff out on a weekly basis. And, you know, I've noticed recently we have had quite a few more people watching this stream, which is nice and encouraging, and lots of, you know, banter and talk, especially last week. So yeah, I wouldn't want to ruin that too much by not streaming. So despite the temptation to say no, too stressed today, I'm not doing it, I am glad I did, because it also feels like a little bit of an accomplishment. Not much of one, but a little bit. It's nice to talk to you guys too and get some perspective, and sometimes be reminded. Oh, that needs to get pushed in as well. Okay. And also be reminded that, you know, some of the stuff I focus on is just not that important to you guys. And ultimately, it's better to listen to, you know, the people that actually are interested in buying my stuff, what they're saying and what's important to them. So it's a good form of getting feedback, I suppose. Let's see. Brian Rombauer says, always amazed that anyone can stream while working. Don't think I could pull that off. It's just one of those things where I think modeling in Maya is like detached from certain parts of your brain. So, for example, if I'm sitting, like the update I wrote for the deck plans, that required all of my mental focus to do. Absolutely everything. Whereas if I'm just working in Maya like this, you can easily listen to music, to a pod, you know, have discussions. It's like you're tapping into a different area of the brain, basically. This is not an attractive polygon, so I might just triangulate that. And then I think we'll do a quick and dirty fill there. And I probably will take this out entirely, actually, this back wall. I think I've done it once already, to be honest. At the moment I'm just going to take this out, because I know that's got to be removed to get back to where I had this previously. And then I will extrude. Oh, and I just realized that I made this a part of the hole, but it actually has a second side, so I need to remove that. Initially, I was considering, like, okay, as a design, how does this work? And you can kind of see some of the ideas I had and then abandoned. Like, one was like, what if this area was like a lifeboat? And that it sort of like dropped out, and then I'm just like, nah, it's a shuttle. It's not really big enough to have a lifeboat. So I abandoned that idea. So yeah, I just need to take all of that out, apparently. Sloppy work, Ben, sloppy work. Oh, what's going on here? So yeah, and any of these faces that are on this side, that's an indication of where I need to sort of remove the polygons. And I'm just going around the edge because when you have these odd shapes, the selection tools don't work very well in Maya. Alrighty, so that should be that, and then if we just ditch this, there we go. Now we should be able to select all of that, and we just double check. Oh, we accidentally took out some faces here by mistake, but we can reconstruct this pretty easily, so I'm just gonna accept that, fill it. There we go. So that's all now flush with the hole. There's no extra gaps or anything. Let's see. Michael Wagner said, "You are doing awesome. Remember, this too shall pass." Thank you. Yes, it will pass, but I do need to be in it for it to pass. Shergirl says, "I am being quiet because I have low pun pilot skill. Half my jokes don't land." Oh my god. I mean, keep them coming, honestly. I love a good pun. I might roll my eyes. But deep inside, I am laughing. I'm not a dad, but I would make a good one, if you know what I mean. So, let's look at this. Let's close off this other side too. I think there's actually a missing open look clipboard, so I'll delete that. We'll grab this, we'll grab that. This thing needs to be halved. So a lot of this and the speed that I'm able to achieve is based on just having a general game plan of knowing where I want to go and what I need to achieve. So a part of it is just skill based on experience. Well, I mean, at this stage I've put in well over my 10,000 hours in Maya. Probably well over 20, to be honest. Which is still probably about the amount of time I've spent on Civilization games in my life. I mean, that becomes much more possible when you grow up with Civ 1 to start with and had every single iteration. With probably at least 1,000 hours each and 2 on several, so yep. Close this off. Oh, more talk. Great. Stosh AM says, "Truly enjoy watching this process each week." Well, that's nice to know. Sometimes it's like, why would anyone be interested in this? And other times I'm like, I don't want people to think, that... I don't know. It's kind of like... There are times where the creative process is intense and you get so much work done, and then there are other times where it feels very slow, very iterative, a lot of bugs, a lot of swearing, especially when you have such fickle software. that. And that didn't really help anyway. Let's do that. Made a bit of an N-gon there, but we'll fix it up. Tamsin says, you are a dad, but your children are either STL files or go wolf. That's true, I am a dog father. I have a person. Michael Tennery says, it's like you've done this before. Yeah, literally. And that Placid Semiflange says, Civilization games, where they took the Gandhi aggressiveness bug and ran with it. Yeah. I never liked playing India though. Okay, right, so here we're going to get really lazy, and you're not seeing all of the progress here. We have some intersecting objects, that's the first point of lazy, but really it doesn't matter too much. Here we're just going to triangulate, still feels wrong. I think it's what it's called though. Let's see, edit mesh, no, it's in mesh. And then triangulate, yeah. Still doesn't sound like English. But yeah, we're basically, we're just closing off these gaps at the moment. Let's see, now I might need to open up this wall. Because this goes all the way back to, let's see, we need, isolate this, we're going to move the pivot point to here. Hoping that's right. And then we'll delete the history and we're going to do a Control-Shift-D, which is duplicate but instance. So when we mirror this part, sorry, it's just auto-saving. Well, hang on a second. It's auto-saving and, oh, it's a recovered file, that's why. So this is taking a while. I really need to save this. Yeah. Come on. It's taking a long time to save because it's a Maya ASCII file instead of a Maya binary. So I think part of it is it's not very compressed. And one incentive to save this is also, aside from saving the work, to keep the file size down. I know that the hard drive that I have on this work computer is actually quite full. I do need to invest in an upgrade sooner or later. So right now, before I do anything else, I'm going to save this project. And it's in scenes, we want to go sort by date and choose small craft production. Save as, we're back in my binary files. The one benefit of my ASCII files is if you have been a student and you hate that annoying student message, provided your scene is under 2 gigabytes, so you can edit it with a notepad, you can take out, I think it's about the 10th line where it says which license it was made with, and you get rid of that annoying message. Alright, let's freeze the transformations, and basically we're just getting this part to mirror the other one, because this will be complete. So I'm thinking this wall goes away completely. We need to think about how we shape this part. I did shape this a bit more, I feel, in the past. But yeah, I realized this was actually the first time I've ever added a fridge. If you can believe that. So, let's see, let's actually soften up some of these edges to get more of a flat look. So not a flat, a curvy look is what we're looking for. Oh, and that is a hideous N-gon. This is like prime N-gon. There we go, and that too. Right, so this is just like making it look more presentable, but I realized that of all the kitchen variants we've never done something that really feels like a proper fridge. So this was new. And yeah, but this N-gon here, this is like hideous. This is problematic. So we do need to triangulate that. I'll do my shortcut there. That's very messy as well, but I think we can live with the rest of this. So n-gons can go both ways. They can either just be fine, or if they're really, really malformed, yeah, it will be problematic. So I will probably take out this wall, but we're at a stage where you can see that this part is almost printable. And all we really need to do to make this printable is to add in the little female connectors for, you know, attaching wall pieces like we do with our traveler stuff. So you'll be able to take these out, paint them, and then slot them in nicely. Actually, the other reason why we need to take out this wall is because if we don't, we have no way to actually get that in properly. It would be very awkward to angle in. You'd have to drop it down, insert, push, whereas this way you can just slide it in here and then straight into the wall. So we'll get rid of that. I'll save this though, and we will, in our last 4 minutes, I will load up the transport delta and we'll look at some of the stuff. I'm not malformed, I'm just big boned. Sure you are, Shergo. So yeah, this should take just a little bit to load. The scene size is getting pretty big. And I'm wondering where I've left this scene. So I was doing some renders. Let's put on the, let's see, 2400, standard top, upper hull should be on. That's what's missing. Let's turn off the wireframing. So what I did do was actually I made it might not be too visible to you guys because you haven't had as much contact with this ship, but the sensor here is about 25% bigger than it used to be, and I'm also in the process of just making a variant as a sort of stretch goal. I do love all of the additional detail we've put in here. It feels a lot better, I feel, than the original. There's still probably more to do. Oh yeah, we didn't really look at, let's see, cargo prongs, and we removed the original nose, and we removed the 2400, and that should be on the 2400 as well. So this is one of the stretch goals we were looking at last week. So I have left a little clip hole here on either side so that we could potentially have something that will support a cargo crate in between, but otherwise that is our little nose variant. I kind of like it. I like the detail. What do you guys think? Another stretch goal I've worked on, if we take off the top deck, take off the top cockpit and the upper hull. Whoa, where's it? Oh, we forgot our interior, that's why. So let's put the interior back on. This is a stretch goal with the gunner seat for that real Star Warsy feeling. Oh, this door has been moved out of the way, I think, so I can make some renders. They're on the Discord if you want to see them. But yeah, basically, it's like the Millennium Falcon setup, only you don't need to reverse gravity in any direction to do so. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we can bring here in the form of, you know, different variants, and let's put the original nose back on and turn off the milestone prongs. So there's a lot more to do in the scene, but this is a beautiful ship. The interior should be done. Next time we'll have the campaign live, so do check out the links. Do get your free little nose model, the Delta Shuttle. This is it here. Let's select the objects and isolate. So this is the little shuttle that's free. Go download it now. Oh, I did make some changes to this. I don't think they're turning up though. Let's see, I need to turn off that interior again and attach these to the right layer. But yeah, I was inspired by They must be on that cargo prong layer or something. Weird, I thought I inserted those. Okay, so when I was doing the cargo prongs, I think it was like, is it Fabian that does the fantastic color prints? They were adding these sort of vents to the back of that little pod, so I actually made a new clip that you can do that with. Just fill up holes and open lock ports that are empty and make them feel like, you know, they're actually functional rather than just an eyesore. First time we see the gunner seat? Yeah, it is originally based a little bit off the... I've not shown this off before. It is based off the seats from the Sleipnir to begin with. It is a different actual seat combination. There are no belts. The headrest is different. It has this control panel that slides in for the gunner seat. The idea is it will just sit with a bit of blue tack or something, so you can easily twist and turn this thing with the gun. That's the idea anyway. So yeah, we will have a lot to show off next week for sure. We might have to change the day of the streams. I don't think it's next week, I think it's the week after actually, because my wife has some race days. But yeah, basically that's it for today. I've got a lot of work left to do yet before I can have my Friday beer. But I hope you enjoyed catching up, and hopefully we'll catch up next week as well. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you then. Bye guys.